Day, you open your eyes. Day, the room is completely dark. Day, but you do not need to look at the clock to know what time it is. Day, the glowing red numbers read exactly 3 in the morning. Day, again. Day, you stare at the ceiling, calculating how many hours you have left before the alarm goes off. Day, and the dread set. Day, for years you have been told that this frustrating 3 a.m. wake-up call is just a normal part of getting older. Day, you have been handed prescriptions for sleeping pills and told to simply. Day, but what if I told you that your body waking you up at this exact hour is not insomnia, and it is certainly not just aging. It is a biological survival alarm. Day, your body is practically screaming that something is fundamentally wrong. After over 2 decades of researching cardiovascular anatomy and the biological mechanisms of aging, they have seen standard medicine fail older adults repeatedly. The traditional medical establishment hands out sedatives to force you into unconsciousness, treating the symptom, but entirely ignoring the root cause. They do this because of one massive foundational myth. The belief that sleep is a passive state. We have been conditioned to think of sleep as a power-off button. You lounge, your body shuts down. And you rest. That is the biggest lie you have ever been told about human biology. Sleep is not a passive shutdown. When you close your eyes and lose consciousness, your body is actually clocking in for an incredibly demanding night shift. It is a highly intensive period of biological maintenance, repair and restructuring. Imagine a massive cleanup crew taking over a busy city the moment the sun goes down. Your brain is aggressively working to flush out toxic proteins that have built up throughout the day. Your digestive system is working overtime to process leftover food. Your endocrine system is desperately trying to recalibrate and balance your hormones. This is a massive amount of physical labor happening entirely under the radar. Because this night shift is so critical to your longevity, your brain is constantly on guard. It acts like an overly sensitive security system. If anything disrupts this fragile process during the night, whether it is a slight drop in blood sugar, a minor fluctuation in your core body temperature, or even the mechanical stress of a wrong sleeping position, your brain does not gently nudge you. It interprets this disruption as a life or death survival threat. It instantly triggers your adrenal glands to flood your bloodstream with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. That sudden chemical rush is exactly why your eyes snap open at 3 in the morning. Your heart is racing. You feel an unexplainable sense of panic, and you might even be covered in sweat. You are not losing your ability to sleep. Your body is violently waking you up to save you from what it perceives as an active threat. Standard sleep hygiene tips will never fix a biochemical survival alarm. To reclaim your night, we have to stop treating sleep like a passive activity and start optimizing the physical, chemical and mechanical environment of your body before your head ever hits the pillow. In this video, we are going to break down exactly what triggers these alarms and how to completely neutralize them using pure science. If you are tired of waking up exhausted and want to finally understand the hidden mechanics of your own body, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss these medical deep dives. And let us get into the exact steps you need to take to sleep through the night starting tonight. Let us start with the most common hidden culprit behind the 3 a.m. jolt. Ironically, it has absolutely nothing to do with a sleep disorder. It has everything to do with your dining room table and a physiological trap called nocturnal hypoglycemia. Picture this scenario. You decide to be healthy and eat dinner early. Say around 6 in the evening you have a sensible meal, maybe a bit on the lighter side to manage your weight. By the time 2 or 3 in the morning rolls around, it has been 8 to 10 hours since your last bite of food. For an older metabolic system, that is a massive fasting window. Your blood sugar bottoms out. Your brain, which consumes a massive amount of glucose to perform that heavy night shift cleanup we just talked about, suddenly detects a severe energy shortage. Your body does not see this as a peaceful night of rest. It registers this blood sugar crash as a literal starvation emergency. To save your life, your adrenal glands immediately dump a massive surge of stress hormones, specifically adrenaline and cortisol, directly into your bloodstream. The sole purpose of this chemical flood is to violently kickstart your liver, forcing it to release its emergency glucose reserve so your brain has enough fuel to survive. That violent chemical reaction is exactly why you snap awake. Your heart is pounding against your ribs. Your mind is racing with unexplainable anxiety. And you might even wake up drenched in sweat. Clinical records reveal a textbook case of a 72-year-old woman who suffered from this exact biological alarm. For 3 agonizing years, her eyes would snap open at exactly 2:45 in the morning. Traditional medicine failed her completely. She was handed prescription after prescription for heavy sleeping pills, but nothing worked. And here's why those pills will always fail you. A sleeping pill cannot magically raise your blood sugar. A sedative cannot stop your adrenal glands from pumping out survival hormones. All a sleeping pill does is force a starving, panicking body into a state of chemical paralysis. It never addresses the root cause. The medical solution for this 72-year-old woman involved 0 prescriptions. It was shockingly. She was instructed to eat exactly 1 tablespoon of almond butter or a small slice of cheese right before brushing her teeth for bed. That tiny portion of protein and healthy fat acts like a slow-burning log on a fire, providing a steady, drip feed of energy to the brain all night long. Within 1 week, a 3-year cycle of severe insomnia was completely cured. Food was the ultimate sleep medicine. If your blood sugar is perfectly stable but you are still waking up, we have to look at the second invisible trigger. It is the thermostat on your wall clashing with the biological thermostat inside your head. Your core body temperature is not static. It follows a strict biological curve, and it is programmed to drop to its absolute lowest point between 3 and 5 in the morning. Our metabolism naturally slows down, which means our bodies generate significantly less internal heat. If you are sleeping in a room with the air conditioning blasting, your brain senses this environmental chill right as your internal temperature is dropping. The hypothalamus, which acts as your internal temperature regulator, registers a risk of clinical hypothermia. Once again, it hits the panic button. It triggers a spike in cortisol to activate an automatic warming process, and that stress hormone pulls you right out of deep sleep. Conversely, if your room is too hot, it completely disrupts the natural warming phase your body initiates to prepare for the morning. Medical data shows the absolute ideal room temperature to keep this fragile system balances between 63 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Then there is the third mechanical trigger, and this one is purely self-inflicted. It involves something millions of older adults do every single evening out of pure convenience. They take all their daily medications with their dinner. If you are taking a diuretic for your blood pressure at 6 in the evening, you are setting a biological time bomb. Pharmacokinetics tell us that blood pressure diuretics take about 6 to 8 hours to reach their absolute peak effect in your bloodstream. If you swallow that pill at dinner, your kidneys are thrown into maximum overdrive right at the stroke of midnight. They're aggressively filtering water. And by 2 or 3 in the morning, your bladder is stretched to its absolute maximum capacity. Your body has no choice but to wake you up. The fix here is an effortless micro-solution. Simply shift your diuretic medication from your evening meal to your morning breakfast. Let your kidneys process that water while you are awake and active. These are not random wake-up calls. They are precise, biological reactions. Take a moment right now and tell me in the comments below what exact time you usually wake up during the night. Have you noticed a pattern? Let us discuss it down there. And if you are finding this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and share this video with someone you know who is struggling with their sleep. We are just getting started. Now that we have stabilized your chemistry and your temperature, we need to talk about the most dangerous sleep mistake of all. And it has to do with the physical gravity pulling on your heart. Let us move to the next crucial step. We just covered how chemical imbalances and temperature drops pull you out of deep sleep. But all the blood sugar stabilization in the world will not save your nights if you are ignoring the physical laws of gravity. There is a third trigger that has absolutely nothing to do with what you eat or how cold your room is. Millions of older adults unknowingly trigger severe medical emergencies every single night. Simply by rolling over onto their right side. It sounds completely harmless to choose your right side because it feels comfortable, but from a cardiovascular and anatomical standpoint, it is one of the most dangerous sleep mistakes you can make. Let us look at the pure mechanics of your digestive system. Most people picture the human stomach as a perfectly symmetrical pouch sitting right in the middle of the abdomen. Your stomach is actually shaped like the letter J, and the large bulbous part of that shape sits heavily weighted to the left side of your body. At the top of this shape is a delicate muscular valve connecting to your esophagus. When you lay flat on your right side, gravity takes that heavy fluid-filled pouch and literally flips it upside down. Suddenly, that delicate valve is completely submerged in a pool of stomach acid. We are talking about gastric acid with a F level between 1.5 and 3.5, which is a highly corrosive liquid strong enough to dissolve raw metal. As you sleep, that aging valve gives way under the massive pressure, allowing acid to silently leak up your throat and spill directly into your lungs. In medical terms, we call this silent aspiration. You might not wake up with classic heartburn, but instead you wake up at 3 in the morning violently coughing and gasping for air. Clinical records show countless cases of older adults being misdiagnosed with late-onset asthma. They handed inhalers and given heavy sleep medications that do absolutely nothing. A chemical pill cannot stop the physical gravity pulling acid into your lungs. The real cure is simply rolling over. The moment you shift to your left side, gravity pulls that heavy patch of acid down to the bottom of the curve, keeping it completely safely away from the valve. The coughing stops, the silent chemical burns in the lungs heal, and your body can finally rest. But the dangers of the right side go far beyond stomach acid. It directly impacts your heart through a terrifying phenomenon known as Romheld syndrome or gastrocardiac syndrome. To understand this, you need to know about the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as a massive high-speed information highway that directly connects your brain, your heart, and your entire digestive tract. When you sleep on your right side, the unnatural anatomical position causes your digestion to slow down dramatically, creating gas that physically inflates your stomach like a balloon. Because your internal organs are packed tightly together, that inflated stomach pushes hard against your diaphragm, which in turn physically compresses the bottom of your heart. At the exact same time, this swollen mass squeezes and pinches that vagus nerve highway. The pinched nerve panics and sends chaotic false alarm signals straight to your brain. This creates a physiological illusion so powerful that it perfectly mimics a massive heart attack. You snap awake in the middle of the night with a racing heart, chest tightness, shortness of breath, and an overwhelming sense of impending doom. You might even call an ambulance, only to sit in the emergency room hours later while the doctors tell you your electrocardiogram and blood tests are perfectly normal. They might tell you it was just a panic attack and offer you a sedative. But it was not a panic attack. It was a structural mechanical failure caused by an inflated stomach crushing a nerve simply because of your sleeping position. Sleeping pills will never fix a compressed vagus nerve. If protecting your lungs and your heart was not enough reason to change your sleep posture, we have to talk about your brain. Researchers recently fully mapped out the glymphatic system, which acts as a highly specialized night shift cleaning crew for your mind. When you enter deep sleep, a miraculous biological event occurs where your brain cells literally shrink by up to 60%. This massive reduction in size opens up wide channels inside your skull, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to rush in and wash away toxic waste products like beta amyloid. That is the exact same dangerous protein plaque responsible for cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease as we age. Dynamic magnetic resonance imaging scans have proven that this deep cleaning system is highly dependent on gravity. The data shows that sleeping on your left side aligns your internal vascular structure perfectly with gravity, allowing this brainwashing system to operate at its absolute maximum efficiency. When you sleep on your back, or worse on your right side, the fluid cannot circulate properly, and the natural drainage flow is severely restricted. Those toxic proteins remain trapped inside your brain tissue, building up night after night. How you lay your body down dictates whether your brain gets cleaned or slowly suffocates in its own waste. It is absolutely incredible how much control we have over our own biology simply by understanding basic anatomy and physics. Tonight I want you to try this simple micro solution. Transition yourself to sleeping on your left side. If you struggle with severe acid reflux, elevate the head of your bed slightly by using a proper wedge pillow to raise your upper body 6 to 8 inches. Do not try to lift yourself by stacking multiple regular pillows, because that will only bend your neck, block your airway, and increase the pressure on your stomach. Instead, use a pillow with a gusset to perfectly support the natural curve of your cervical spine. I would love to read your experiences in the comments section below. So please tell me what position you usually sleep in right now. Let us see how many of you might be unknowingly triggering these severe biological alarms every night. If this anatomical breakdown opened your eyes to why your body keeps waking you up, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends and family. Your support helps us keep bringing you the unvarnished medical truth. Now that we have fixed the mechanical side of things, we have to address the energy chemicals you are drinking every morning that are secretly destroying your nights. Let us talk about coffee. We just solved the physical gravity of your sleeping posture. But even if you perfectly protect your heart and lungs all night, there is a massive chemical trap waiting for you. The exact second the sun comes up, most older adults wake up exhausted from tossing and turning, and their very first instinct is to shuffle into the kitchen and pour a strong cup of hot coffee. It is an automatic morning routine for millions. But from a clinical perspective, how you consume your morning caffeine is actively destroying your deep sleep for the following night. Understand why your morning coffee is backfiring. We have to look inside your brain at a chemical called adenosine. Think of adenosine as a biological hourglass that tracks your daily fatigue from the moment you open your eyes. Your body starts producing this chemical. Throughout the day, these adenosine molecules act like uninvited guests walking into a room and sitting down in highly specific chairs. Which are the receptors in your brain? The more guests that sit down, the stronger your brain feels fatigue. When all the chairs are full, you feel exhausted and fall asleep. Here is the brilliant but dangerous illusion of caffeine on a molecular level. A caffeine molecule happens to have the exact same physical shape as an adenosine molecule. When you drink that cup of coffee, you are triggering a high-speed game of musical chairs inside your skull. Caffeine rushes in, aggressively steals all the empty chairs and locks the receptors. Suddenly, your brain cannot feel the fatigue anymore, and you feel a massive surge of energy. But here's the medical truth nobody tells you. The fatigue is not gone, and those adenosine molecules did not evaporate. They are simply forced to wait in a massive line out in the hallway. The moment your liver processes that caffeine and the chairs open up, that entire massive line of adenosine floods your brain all at the exact same time. This triggers a catastrophic energy crash in the afternoon. When you crash, you drink more coffee, locking the receptors again and completely guaranteeing that you will jolt awake at 3 in the morning. We have to break this chemical loop. The first major breakthrough is to absolutely never drink coffee the second you wake up. When you open your eyes, your body is naturally pumping out a massive spike of a stress hormone called cortisol to wake up your senses. Pouring coffee on top of a system that is already running at maximum capacity is a total waste of caffeine. It is like drinking a weak cup of tea while you are already on pure adrenaline. Clinical data shows the absolute most effective strategy is to delay your first cup of coffee for exactly 90 minutes after you wake up. You must wait for that natural cortisol spike to drop. Then the caffeine perfectly fills that biological gap, giving you smooth energy without the aggressive afternoon crash. If you are completely exhausted during the day, there is a brilliant clinical hack backed by sleep experts known as the coffee nap. It sounds contradictory, but the biology is flawless. Drink a glass of iced black coffee very fast, then immediately close your eyes and nap for exactly 25 minutes. While you sleep, your brain activates its natural cleaning cycle and burns off the adenosine waiting in line. Because caffeine takes about 20 to 30 minutes to reach your brain, it arrives the exact moment you wake up. Your brain is perfectly clear to fatigue, and the caffeine locks in, delivering a colossal wave of clean energy. But brain chemistry is only half the battle. The other half is your genetic biological clock, medically known as your chronotype. Society forces us into a standard morning schedule, but human biology is divided into 4 very distinct groups. You might be someone who naturally wakes up at dawn with explosive energy. You could be a bear, which makes up 50% of the population, perfectly matching the rise and fall of the sun. You might be a wolf, a natural night owl whose brain only sparks true creative brilliance long after midnight, or you might be a dolphin, highly intelligent, detail-oriented, but cursed with a sensitive nervous system that makes you a very anxious, light sleeper. Forcing your body to fight its natural rhythm destroys your focus, but it also ruins your most private physiological functions, including physical intimacy. Modern society conditions us to believe that romance belongs at the end of the day, usually around 11 at night. From an anatomical standpoint, that is the worst possible time. Late at night, your critical sex hormones have crashed to their lowest baseline, and your brain is flooding your system with melatonin to force you to sleep. Biologically speaking, the human body actually possesses its absolute most optimized hormonal state in the morning. That is when your testosterone, estrogen, and adrenaline are completely maxed out. When you fight your natural rhythm, you are fighting millions of years of human evolution. I want to know exactly how your internal clock is wired. Drop a comment below right now and tell me if you think you are a lion, a bear, a wolf, or a dolphin based on what time you naturally feel the most energetic. Let us see the biological diversity of our community. And if this breakdown of brain chemistry is completely changing how you view your daily routines, please hit that like button and subscribe right now. Because in our next chapter, they are going to expose the most dangerous lie in the entire sleep industry, a massive hormonal disaster disguised as harmless little gummies. Let us uncover the terrifying truth about melatonin. We just mapped out your morning biology and how your genetic chronotype dictates your daily energy. But as the sun goes down, millions of older adults make a desperate, final attempt to guarantee a full night of sleep. They walk into their bathroom, open the medicine cabinet, and reach for something that looks exactly like a piece of candy. I am talking about melatonin gummies. Society has fully embraced this supplement as a harmless, natural sleep aid. But from a clinical and endocrinological standpoint, the widespread abuse of over-the-counter melatonin is an absolute medical disaster. It is a hormonal time bomb disguised as a bedtime treat. To understand why this is destroying your sleep architecture, we have to look at what melatonin actually does inside the human brain. Most people treat melatonin like a traditional sleeping pill. They swallow it, expecting it to aggressively depress their central nervous system and force them into unconsciousness. That is a massive biological misunderstanding. Melatonin is not a day does not force you to sleep. In medical terms, melatonin is simply a biological messenger. Its only job is to circulate through your bloodstream and tell your brain one very specific piece of information. It is dark outside. That is it. It signals the start of the sleep preparation phase, but it does not do the heavy lifting of actually putting you to sleep. When you buy a bottle of melatonin at the grocery store, you are participating in a wildly unregulated industry. Because it is classified as a dietary supplement and not a strict pharmaceutical drug, the oversight is terrifyingly loose. Independent laboratory studies recently pulled popular melatonin products straight off the shelves to test their actual chemical contents. The clinical data was shocking. Researchers found that the actual amount of the hormone inside those bottles varied wildly. Some gummies contained absolutely 0% of the hormone. The others contained a staggering 667% more than what was printed on the label. Imagine taking a cardiovascular medication where the dose could be completely empty one night and almost 7 times the intended limit the next. You would never accept that for your heart, yet millions accept it for their brain chemistry every single night. When you flood an older, sensitive metabolic system with a random, massive dose of a synthetic hormone, you completely short-circuit your natural biological clock. This synthetic hormone flood interacts terribly with critical daily medications. Clinical records shows dangerous interactions between high-dose melatonin and blood pressure medications, as well as modern antidepressants and birth control. It alters how your body processes these vital cardiovascular drugs, leaving you chemically vulnerable in the middle of the night. To truly understand how powerful and dangerous this unregulated hormone can be, look at what it does to a developing system. There is a terrifying trend of adults handing these gummies to healthy children to make them sleep. Medical data shows that feeding a massive, synthetic dose of melatonin to a healthy, developing body acts similarly to a high-dose contraceptive. It is so biochemically aggressive that it can completely disrupt and derail a natural biological puberty cycle. If a harmless-looking gummy has the chemical power to shut down human reproductive development, imagine the absolute chaos it is causing to an aging cardiovascular and neurological system at 3 in the morning. Swallowing a massive, unregulated dose of a synthetic hormone will never fix a mechanical airway obstruction or a blood sugar crash. It only confuses your brain further. The actionable medical solution here is absolute. You must stop relying on synthetic hormone drops and start relying on pure physiology. Throw those unregulated bottles in the trash. Instead, you need to naturally trigger your brain to produce its own precise, perfect dose of melatonin. I want to hear from you on this because it is such a widespread issue. Have you been taking melatonin every night thinking it was just a harmless natural supplement? Let me know your experience in the comments below. And if this revelation about the supplement industry shocked you, please hit that like button and share this video. Your support helps us expose these dangerous medical myths. Now that we have eliminated the chemical traps and physical dangers, we need to talk about the final protocol. We need to build the perfect, bulletproof sleep routine. Let us move to the final chapter and learn exactly what to do 1 hour before bed. Understanding that flooding your system with artificial melatonin can interact dangerously with medications brings us to a crucial turning point. If relying on unregulated supplement is a biological disaster, how do we permanently stop those miserable 3 in the morning wake-ups? As a cardiovascular specialist who has spent decades analyzing the human body, I assure you deep restorative sleep does not come from a pill bottle. Mainstream medicine often ignores the root mechanical causes of insomnia. Today we will build a biological fortress around your rest using proven sleep architecture. These are the golden rules to fix your sleep naturally. The absolute non-negotiable foundation is the 3-hour rule. You must completely stop eating and limit fluid intake exactly 3 hours before going to sleep. Let us look at a terrifying but common scenario for older adults. Imagine a person in their late 60s waking up at 2 in the morning. Their heart is pounding out of their chest, and they feel a crushing pressure in their torso. They panic. Convinced they are having a heart attack. They rush to the emergency room, but tests show their heart is perfectly healthy. What actually happened was a mechanical chain reaction called gastrocardiac syndrome. When you lie down with a stomach full of digesting food, trap gases. The stomach inflates and presses hard against the diaphragm. This upward pressure squeezes the heart cavity and pinches the vagus nerve. Your body sends a massive false alarm to the brain mimicking a heart attack. Day, enforcing a strict 3-hour fasting window before bed ensures your stomach is empty. Day, completely eliminating this dangerous mechanical pressure on your cardiovascular system. Day, this brings us to the physics of your sleeping posture. Gravity never takes a night off. Day, you must train your body to sleep on your left side. As we get older, day, silent acid reflux becomes a major culprit for sudden night awakenings. Day, your stomach is shaped like the letter J. Day, when you sleep on your left side, day, gravity keeps the highly corrosive stomach acid safely pooled at the bottom. Day, roll onto your right, and the stomach flip. Day, the valve becomes submerged in acid. This fluid microaspirates into your lungs, day, causing a silent chemical burn that jolts you awake. Day, to prevent this, then you make a catastrophic mistake. Day, they stack multiple regular pillows under their head. Day, this forces your chin into your chest, day, mechanically pinching your airway shut, causing you to wake up gasping for oxygen. Instead, they use a solid wedge pillow to elevate your upper torso by 6 to 8 inches on a smooth incline. They pair that with a gusset pillow to keep your neck perfectly straight. Next is your brain chemistry. Day, you cannot drive a car at high speed and instantly slam the gear into park. Day, your nervous system works the same way. Day, you need a structured cool-down protocol divided into 3 20-minute blocks before bed. Day, use the first block to finish lingering chores so stressful thoughts do not hijack your mind at midnight. They use the second block for warm personal hygiene. A warm shower brings blood to your skin, day, allowing your core body temperature to drop rapidly when you step out. Day, this temperature drop is the biological trigger for deep sleep. They spend the final 20 minutes in total digital quarantine. Day, no television and no smartphones. Day, this screen-free window stops artificial blue light from suppressing your natural relaxation hormones. Even with perfect preparation, what happens if your eyes snap open at 3 in the morning? They follow a strict midnight crisis protocol. Do not leave your bed unless it is an absolute biological emergency. Day, standing up causes your heart rate to spike, signaling your body to start the day. Never look at the clock or your phone. The instant your eyes register the time, day, your brain calculates how little rest remains. This panic floods your bloodstream with cortisol. Instead, lie perfectly still and manually override your nervous system using the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Day, inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Day, hold that breath for 7 seconds. Then exhale slowly for 8 seconds. This specific rhythm directly stimulates the vagus nerve, day, forcing your heart rate to slow down and tricking your brain back into a state of safety. To summarize, day, achieving high-quality rest requires creating the perfect physical and mechanical environment. Day, keep your stomach empty for 3 hours before bed. Day, align your spine on an incline on your left side. Cool down your brain in intervals. Day, and use breathwork to kill panic if you wake up. Day, the profound lesson is that the modern epidemic of sleep exhaustion comes from a direct conflict between our ancient evolutionary biology and artificial comforts. Day, we constantly try to medicate structural problems that require mechanical solutions. Day, implement these scientific principles tonight and witness a miraculous transformation in your cardiovascular health. Day, if you found these medical insights valuable, day, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, day, and share this video with anyone constantly exhausted. Day, leave a comment below and tell me which golden rule you will try first tonight.